Influences and stuff and things. Hey, we're going to consider how influences affect our lives and how artists address influences through their art. And then you're going to ask yourself, how can you make art that addresses an influence? So, what is an influence? Look at this picture. Can you think of all the different influences that are involved in this picture? Like, are they your friends? Are they each other's friends? What about what they're wearing? What about their fashions? What about the things that are written on their clothes? Like all those things are influences and can influence you or not influence you. Let's look at a bunch of other different things that can influence us. I'm safe in the knowledge that I'll never get put into a nut house because my doctor says that I'll be a bad influence on the rest of the patients. It's so funny because it's true. Hey, sometimes people say video games influence us, but this says if people were influenced by video games, then the majority of Facebook users would be farmers by now. That's kind of old. Maybe you don't remember, but Farmville used to be a game on Facebook and everyone was playing it. So if video games, well, you get the point. You'd be a farmer. Okay. Shakespeare changed everything. This is a book, and it really just talks about something that happened a long time ago. This guy Shakespeare wrote stuff, and he changed a whole bunch of things. And if you read this book, you can see how he influenced the future of things, even up till today. There's even a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like, this is a famous book that a lot of people, 80 years in print. Why would I want to influence people? There could be a lot of good reasons. There could be a lot of bad reasons. But this is the book that teaches you how. What about art? Well, we looked at art. This is Luncheon on the Grass by Manet. Now, Manet influenced people. He influenced Monet with the bright colors, and he started making those bright colors, and that influenced Van Gogh. And then Van Gogh had the whirly swirly brushstrokes, and that interested Jackson Pollock. And Jackson Pollock made the abstract art. Well, then, because of that influence, people rejected that whole abstract concept, and they started making pop art. Here's Keith Haring with his pop art, and he influenced people too, like Mr. Doodle. Like, that's a total influence that came all the way back from Luncheon on the Grass. Or maybe it's just a rip-off copy of Keith Haring. I'm not sure. Mr. Doodle, you decide how he influences you. Did you know one of the most famous movies was one of the biggest influences, or is considered one of the biggest influences? And that's this movie right here. Look, Dorothy influences everybody because she had cool red slippers. And now everybody wants cool red slippers. And everybody wants a heart, too, because the Tin Man wanted a heart. It was a big influence on people. Speaking of movies, sometimes you watch them on TV and there'll be commercials. Advertisements are trying to influence you to buy their product. And sometimes you want to buy the product and sometimes you don't and you do it anyways. And this is an older picture here, but modern ads do the same thing, like Nike. Now that influences your fashion and maybe it gets you to work out. Maybe you want to run a mile. I don't know. See all the influences involved in this? And that influence of the sneaker can influence a lot of other things, like the games and sports you play or the music you listen to. And that influence could decide other things. So you listen to a type of music and you're influenced by the lyrics, or you're influenced by your hair color, and then you dye your hair color that color. Or you just get the whole fashion kit because you want to go emo and you buy a skateboard. I don't know. But all these things influence us for good or for bad. The news influence us. Things that are happening today, current events can influence us. And then people get on the news and they try to influence us with their view of what they think you should be thinking about those news reports. It's crazy how many people try to influence us. But don't let others influence what you do. Just follow their heart. Now, this is ironic because this is a meme trying to tell you what to do. It's trying to influence you to do. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. You can't write a meme that says influence your heart and then it's influencing you. It's a big influence of an influence. That's crazy. And memes try to influence us. And matter of fact, they're on the internet. Well, the biggest thing going on right now is influencers. They're on the internet. Here's 6 tips for starting influencer marketing so you can be an influencer. This is just getting crazy. There's so much stuff that influences us, but be aware of what you feed your mind, especially what you watch on TV, the food you put in your body, the stuff you listen to, the books you read, the news reports you react to. It all can affect you for good or bad. It all can be an influence. So you got to be aware. All right. The only thing you don't need to worry about is the influence of a good teacher. Yes, because that can never be erased. Okay, that's it. You understand, if you looked at this video, all the ways that you could be influenced. So I want you to select an influence, and not just say an influence, not a influence. I could have bad spelling influencing here. That affects you. Select an influence that affects you, and then create a work of art that responds to that influence. Got it? I'm expecting to see great things.